Hey guys, Truth Nerd from Fact or Fiction. We're going to go over another debunk of the theoretical particle physicist that has been sending papers to Chris Potter and WSO and now Nibiru 2016. I originally wanted to do this as one big long debunk, but it's just become too time consuming, so for this one we're just going to concentrate on the February 25th, 2007 image that the theoretical particle physicist is trying to say is a brown dwarf. For starters, this image is the same as this image, this image, this image, this image, this image, this image, and this image. The only difference between all these images is that they are shot in different angstroms, or they're using different instruments, such as the Core 1 or the Core 2, that are all on the stereo spacecraft. It's basically like putting on a different pair of sunglasses, like putting on Oakley's as opposed to blue blockers, or like putting a different kind of filter on a camera. You're going to get different colors and different shades. And as far as perspective goes, the EUVI could be considered like looking through a telescope, where the core would be considered looking through binoculars. Just two different views of the same thing. I think a lot of the problem with understanding all this is being able to wrap your head around the perspective of the camera. The B in stereo B stands for behind, while the A stands for ahead, which they kind of both travel along the same orbital path as Earth, but B is behind the orbit and A is ahead of the orbit. These satellites had just been launched in 2006, so early in 2007, they were still in the same general vicinity as Earth. You can actually go to the stereo website and find out exactly where the stereo A and B satellites are on any given day. In this picture, you can see that the moon was actually in front of the sun from the perspective of the stereo B. Here's kind of a crude diagram I whipped up so you could kind of picture it a little bit easier. There's also another cool website called eyes.nasa.gov where you can go and plug in the date for any kind of celestial event and actually check it out. In this video, Dazza the cameraman had already gone through and plotted out what the view looked like from the stereo B perspective on February 25th.
And we can see that the moon is about at its extent on its orbit. It's just coming up now. As it does so, the moon progresses further up towards the sun. It is now February 24th. And now we can see that the moon is actually approaching the sun's disk as seen from the stereo behind spacecraft.
Let's do a side-by-side.
And we will watch the moon exiting the disk of the sun as seen from the stereo behind spacecraft. And there it goes. There is the moon emerging, exactly as we saw on the stereo behind Core 2 images.
This comes down to actually two things. Either these people aren't real bright, or they are completely trying to mislead you. They keep showing the core images and claiming that this object, the brown dwarf, is going behind the sun when it's actually not. Then they switch right back to an EUVI image, which clearly shows the quote-unquote object in front of the sun. It's the same image, just from different perspectives, like I've already explained. But I'm no physicist, I'm just an average Joe. So if you don't want to take my word for it, go ahead and do a Google search of February 25th, 2007 stereo B. You'll find that there's over 12,000 results, all saying that it's the moon. So either it's one of the biggest cover-ups in the history of mankind, or someone is blatantly lying to you, because 12,000 different sources all saying it's the same thing. I mean, come on. Not everything is a conspiracy. Look, what it comes down to is that all this stuff can be looked up. It's all tracked. It's all there in black and white. Anybody has the ability to go to these websites and look up all this stuff. I'll leave all the links in the description so that you can do it for yourself. But the fact of the matter is that most people aren't going to take the time to do it. They're just going to take the word of people like Chris Potter, Steve Olson, Wayne Steiger, and Scott Cohn from Nibiru 2016 because they have a person that has a doctor in front of their name giving them information. We at Fact or Fiction also have a doctor on our team, a couple of amateur astronomers. We have another member that is in his last semester of getting his degree in astrophysics, along with a bunch of other just intelligent people that actually take the time to do the research to find out if this stuff is BS or not. And two, the theoretical particle physicist, Dr. Claudia Albers. All I'm going to say is we're on to you. We can only assume that you know what you're doing, and you are misleading thousands of people, and it's highly unethical and flat out just wrong. So Dr. Albers, if you continue to keep putting this garbage out there, we'll continue to keep debunking it. To everyone else, stop believing in these harebrained theories and actually do a little bit of research. All the information is very transparent and it's available to the public. You can look all this stuff up. As I said, I'll leave some links down in the description and you can check these things out for yourself. Have a great day. Rest assured, you'll be hearing from us again soon.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.